Hello everybody and welcome to EUROCUP-3. It is the fourth weekend of the 2023 Championship battle, this first season of EUROCUP-3, and it has been some fantastic racing leading up to this point. But here at Circuit Zandvoort, we are ready for more action in very tricky conditions indeed. Jake Sanson here with you for all of the action as we prepare for an amazing battle out on the circuit. We already have drama before the race even begins though. It is definitely going to be a tough situation for all the competitors out there, but Jorge Campos has already had a bit of a moment before we go racing. We'll pick that story up in a short while. However, before we go racing, obviously a very beloved member of the single-seater community left us at Spa-Francorchamps 2 weekends ago, and ever since then, the MP Motorsport team, who of course races here in EUROCUP-3, have obviously felt the pain of the incident, and of course so have the rest of us. EUROCUP-3 has deemed it worthy and necessary to pay tribute to our fallen comrade. He was a very beloved and cherished character in the feeder series and single-seater community. He was definitely going to go on to big things in the world of motor racing. I myself knew him since 2018 in his karting days. And so it's with a heavy heart that we continue racing in his honour and in his memory. But the EUROCUP-3 paddock and community have decided to pay tribute in what we feel is the most befitting and most honourable manner. So the drivers have gathered together at the front of the grid for a minute's silence and a tribute to the Dutch superstar, Delano van 't Hoff.
I just train as hard as I can and I drive as hard as I can.
Delano was a true racer and a real fighter. His attitude to the sport and life was admired within the team and by all around the paddock. His charisma and personality always brought a smile to the faces of those around him, and his courage and determination to succeed was truly inspiring.
I want to be champion.
Just trying to be the best one.
Who do you look up to most, success-wise in motorsport?
The future version of myself.
That future was something that excited many in the motorsport community. Champion and Delano van 't Hoff had met in the same sentence, and not for the first time. If there was one thing Delano stood out for, it was his level of competitiveness. An injury tried its best to stop him from standing on the Freca podium, but the determination of Delano would soon see him get there.
It's always fun to win, but you shouldn't win too much, because you don't learn as much from winning as you do from losing.
That's certainly a quote that will stick with all of us. It was a demonstration of his maturity. He made winning fun, very fun, and had the approach of a champion when that wasn't the case. Delano never really was losing, and it was that mindset that made him a privilege to know.
I don't believe school teaches you anything. Life. family leads everything, of course.
Always a champion indeed. Very, very sad to say goodbye to a dearly beloved and cherished colleague in the motor racing world. His legacy is never going to be forgotten by the motor racing community. He made such a big impact in such a small space of time. A champion in Spanish F4, a runner-up in F4 UAE, so nearly the karting world champion in 2019. I genuinely still believe he could easily have won that had he not been dumped off the road in drizzly conditions at Alajärvi in Finland in 2019. A fabulous young man. I can still feel the handshake on the Friday night at Spa 24. He left a lasting impression on everybody, and it's going to be very hard to continue on without him. However, as a racer and a lover of the sport, that is exactly what he would expect us to do, and therefore that is exactly what we shall do. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of the start of this fabulous first race. Esteban Masson has come through qualifying to get himself into pole position for this race, and he lines up on the front row of the grid alongside Bruno Del Pino. It'll be interesting to see how they go off the grid. It was a big advantage for Esteban Masson in qualifying as well. He got a 1:32.3 over Bruno Del Pino on a 1:32.652, so a big advantage. But as you can see, the wet tyres are on. It is very tricky conditions for the start of the race here at Zandvoort. 30 minutes plus 1 lap for these EUROCUP-3 races. Masson and Boya, the man who's done such a good job in the first part of the season, he will go third position on the starting grid in front of Jose Antonio Garcias, the Mexican driver in the number 99 car. There is Masson and Boya getting himself ready for the start. And then on the third row of the grid, it is going to be Sebastian Ogaard alongside Francesco Braschi. And then it is Sebastian Gravlund alongside Nick Gilks. They'll be together on the fourth row of the starting grid. Then Tasanapol Inthrapuvasak is going to be on the fifth row of the grid alongside Javier Segrera. David Morales will be on row 6 alongside Suleiman Zanfari. Jorge Campos, it's going to be tricky to know whether he's actually going to take the start of the race. I don't think he will, because he has obviously spun it on the cooling on the way to the grid, and the car was abandoned in position, so I'm not entirely sure Jorge Campos is going to take the start on row 7. So it looks like Jesse Carrasquedo is going to be on his own on that 7th row of the grid. Then Georgios Markogiannis will be on the 8th row of the grid alongside Dan Mavlyutyov. And then on the final row of the grid, row 9, it'll be Dan Nogales and Miron Pingazov. 18 cars for this weekend in the EuroCup-3, the most we have had in this first season of 2023, just exactly as we were hoping. The EuroCup-3 grid will just continue to grow and grow as it continues to grow in popularity and stature. But it has been a truly fantastic race battle over the course of the season so far. We've had 3 weekends in EuroCup-3 in 2023 leading up to this point. And obviously everybody has definitely enjoyed the battles that have occurred thus far. This is of course only the first weekend of EuroCup-3 racing. The first season, I should say, in EuroCup-3 racing. It's not quite the first weekend. We've had some decent results up to this point. But it's certainly been some great races that we've had so far. Masson and Boya took pole position across the races at Spa-Francorchamps at the start of the season. It was Francesco Braschi who took the first race win, along with Masson and Boya in the second. Then at Motorland Aragon, it was all about one man, wasn't it? Esteban Masson, despite not taking pole position for both races, it was Tasanapol that got the pole for the first. Masson won everything after that. Fastest lap in both races, race victory in both races for the Campos racing team. Then at Monza, last time out, Sebastian Ogaard may have been the fastest man in race trim, getting fastest laps twice, but Masson and Boya and Francesco Braschi shared the pole positions. Masson and Boya, however, won 2 from 2. And in the rookies battle, it's all been about 3 men, essentially, hasn't it? Suleiman Zanfari, Bruno Del Pino and Dan Nogales, although Miron Pingazov has also been able to take a victory in the rookie battle at race 2 at Spa. So it'll be a very interesting challenge from all of the competitors as we gear up for another exciting battle out on the course. Dan Nogales, of course, only joining the championship last time out at Monza. So the rookie standings, it's only 12 points between Sulaiman Zanfari and Bruno Del Pino coming into this race in the rookie standings. In the overall rankings, of course, there's only 6 points between Esteban Masson and Mari Boya. And when you add to the fact that Mari Boya was not present at Aragon, that shows you how impressive the Spanish driver's season has been. 3 wins and a 4th from his 4 races thus far. So, as the competitors gear themselves up ready for an exciting battle out on the course, we are ready to see what the first of our 2 races can give us here at Zandvoort. We are absolutely on tenterhooks to see whether Esteban Masson can convert yet another pole position into yet another race victory. He has won twice already so far this year, and he could dearly love to go and get another one. The other race winners, Mari Boya lining up in 3rd position on the grid, and Francesco Braschi lining up in 6th on the starting grid. But Bruno Del Pino on that front row of the grid in the number 6 car will be hoping that he has a good start and essentially gets himself into a good position to try and stretch an advantage, because this is exactly the opportunity he will have been looking for. The start is going to be behind the safety car. So we are going to have a safety car start for the first race of the day. And under the current conditions, I'd say that's very sensible and very smart indeed, because obviously the one thing you don't want to do is to go into it with doubt and a little bit of confusion. So going into the race under safety car makes a lot of sense. You don't want that congestion into turn 1 when there's going to be a huge wall of spray. So the drivers will obviously go under safety car conditions for the start of the race, and then when the safety car peels in, they will be racing. So the time will essentially start ticking down when the safety car heads off into the distance, but it will be 30 minutes plus 1 lap, and it's already great to see so many of you watching along and cheering on your favourite drivers. Eleftherios Rensoulis and Claude 2005 are cheering on Marco Giannis, so the Greek contingent has turned up this morning. And also a fabulous performance from Sebastian Ogaard means that Marco Solana is hoping that he gets a decent run off the grid. 5th position from Sebastian Ogaard, so every chance that there is going to be an exciting challenge from him. The grid is being cleared, and so just the drivers will now be left on the starting grid. Esteban Masson from Bruno Del Pino, Mari Boya from Jose Garcias, Sebastian Ogaard from Francesco Braschi. A very competitive top 6. There will be, I think, 17 cars on the starting grid. I can't see Jorge Campos' car in the lineup, but that doesn't mean he's not there, because I can't actually see a gap. But when the cars start moving off, I think we'll get our understanding as to where Jorge Campos is. He certainly spun it on the way to the grid. Whether or not he's been able to get himself back into position or not, we will shortly find out. We are ready to start, and when the safety car peels away, the 7th race, I should say, of the EUROCUP-3 2023 Championship will be under starters' orders. The green light comes on, and the safety car peels away. And as you can see, the time has ticked down, so the race is underway. We are under safety car conditions, so Esteban Masson leads off from the grid. So as the drivers get themselves into the first corner, obviously very tricky conditions. It will be very slippery out there for all of the drivers to put themselves into a good position. We will wait for everybody to come through and count the cars as they go around. Hopefully there are 18 of them rather than 17 of them if Jorge Campos is on the starting grid. I do actually believe there are 18 cars, so that is great news for Jorge Campos under difficult circumstances to get that, bring that car back to the starting grid and get him started again. Medical car there, just travelling at the back of the grid to keep himself in position as well. But a fabulous challenge as the drivers are now making their way on this formation lap. So there is the grid. Esteban Masson and Bruno Del Pino in front of the 3rd place man on the grid. That is Mari Boya and Jose Antonio Garcias, and Sebastian Ogaard and Francesco Braschi, Sebastian Gravland and Nick Gilks, Tasanapol Inthrapuvasak and Javier Segreira from David Morales and Sulaiman Zanfari, then Jorge Campos and Jesse Carrasquedo. Dan Mavlutiov is alongside Georgios Markogiannis, and then we will have a fabulous battle from Dan Nogales and Miron Bingazov. So the contenders are gearing up ready for an exciting challenge here on the Zandvoort Grand Prix circuit. Of course, later in the year, Formula 1 will be here as well. We're going to have a sensational battle. It's going to be a very interesting scenario that the drivers will give us around the circuit. So the competitors are giving us a great challenge forward. But under starters' orders, obviously, because we are in safety car conditions. So the race is actually on. But obviously the safety car will stay out for as many laps as it feels it needs to before we can go racing. There isn't a massive amount of spray, but of course it is better to take safety first in these situations. So we are going to hopefully have the cars go into race conditions as soon as is earliest to make that happen. And as you can see, Esteban Masson just controlling the pace of the field up at the front end from pole position on the starting grid, keeping it nice and tidy up at the front end of the grid. He would dearly love to win a third race, and it would certainly help out his championship aspirations. But it's definitely going to be tricky for him, isn't it? He's going to have a lot of pressure from Bruno Del Pino and Mari Boya when we go green flag racing. But obviously, all in good time, no rush. Make sure that the circuit is fascinating and make sure it is safety for racing. So we go around the second time. So the competitors are gearing up for another go. So at the front end of the field, it is Esteban Masson that leads the way from Bruno Del Pino, who of course is the leading rookie as well, being in second place. Then Mari Boya, Jose Garfias, Sebastian Ogaard, Francesco Braschi, Sebastian Gravlund and Nick Gilks. And then we have Inthrapuvasak in front of Javier Segrera, David Morales and Suleiman Zanfari, who is bidding for a rookie win, but he's going to have to get past Del Pino, Gravlund and Inthrapuvasak to get there. Jorge Campos is in the field, would you believe? Very impressive to get going again after his spin on the way to the starting grid. Jesse Karashkedo in front of Georgios Markogiannis, and then Dan Mavlutiov, Dan Nogales and Miron Pingazov. So as everybody gears up ready for the start of the race, we're obviously waiting for everybody to get ready. But the safety car lights are still on at the moment here at Zandvoort. It's a very tricky circuit, and obviously I don't think many people were expecting the rain to be quite as heavy this morning as it was. It is nowhere near as heavy rainfall as it was earlier today, by the way. So it is dissipating, and you can see the sun is trying to push through. But sun plus spray is obviously going to be pretty tricky for all of the drivers to cope with. The safety car lights are still on. When they go out, that's when you know that we are going to go racing at the end of this particular lap. But Esteban Masson in front of Bruno Del Pino and Mari Boya, then Garfias, Ogaard and Braschi. So they are still in the order that they started. And of course, once you go onto these tyres, you are pretty much committed to staying on these tyres throughout. So if it dries through the course of the race, the status of the battle then becomes who has looked after their tyres the best. So you want to make sure that on wet tyres, the circuit is going to stay wet so that the water goes through the treads and actually grips the road. The biggest problem you've got with lack of traction is that as the track dries out, there won't be enough water to go through the treads of tyres. The safety car is staying out for a third lap though. You know that because we're getting to the end of this particular lap. And there's absolutely no way that we would be going racing with this little warning. So as the cars make their way through the final turn banking, one of my favourite corners that has been profiled in motorsport. It must be so exciting as a driver sat behind the wheel when you go round that flat out apex. So 5 minutes have gone in this race, but obviously you cannot go racing until the safety car has pulled in. So Esteban Masson just keeping the car dialed in. It's worth being alert, making sure that the tyres and the brakes are up to temperature, because that's where you need to build the confidence in the car on the restart, or the first start I should say, because when the race does start you need to know that you're going to have confidence in the car when you hit the brakes for turn 1, that you're going to have grip in the tyres, they're going to be up to temperature, the brakes are going to be warmed up as well, so that you can have full confidence that you're going to go into that first corner and have a great run. So we are waiting for confirmation that we are going to go racing. Safety car in this lap. So safety car will be in this lap. So we are going to have just 3 laps of running, and then the safety car lights will come off and they will peel in. So no doubt the drivers will be made aware of this by the teams. But obviously the racing is going to be very intense from the next lap onwards, as Esteban Masson will have a world of excitement around him. Bruno Del Pino, Mari Boya, Jose Garfias and Sebastian Ogaard are going to be all over him on the start. So this is going to be very treacherous and very tricky from here on out. It's been told and confirmed to us on the timing screens that The safety car will be in this lap, so we will have our first racing lap of the weekend in Eurocup 3. Both races taking place on the Sunday. So it will be a very interesting situation for the drivers as they gear up ready for battle. Can Esteban Masson control the pace? The safety car lights go out, so we will be racing this time. We knew that already, but it's good to get the reassurance from the safety car, who now disappears into the distance. It's up to Esteban Masson now to control the pace of the field, and he will only go racing when he feels he's ready to do so. But he has to control the pace of the field. He's obviously trying to make sure that the tyres are warm enough, up to the optimal temperature. Brakes need to be as well. You've got to have full confidence going into Tarzan to know that you're going to have a fast car underneath you. No bolt on the throttle yet for Esteban Masson. He doesn't want to get caught out here. He wants to make sure that he has the best run on the throttle. So this is all going to come down to timing as far as he's concerned. Going to be in for a very exciting battle the way things are currently looking, as the drivers are gearing up ready for a spectacle. Esteban Masson waiting for his moment. He's not going for it yet. He is keeping the field well backed up. At any moment now he is going to bolt. He's left it a lot later than I thought he might. And he's going to keep it onto the banking. So as they come into Arie Luyendyk Bocht, final turn, it's going to be a really strong battle from here on in. And they will make their way up to Tarzan. Now they're getting up to speed. Esteban Masson has bolted, and so we go green here at Zandvoort. It is time to go racing in Eurocup 3, the first race of the day. And already there is going to be a strong charge forward, as up to the first corner, Bruno Del Pino. Off the road goes Mari Boya. Mari Boya's gone off the road, and so has Masson. Both of the championship contenders have drifted off the road at the first corner. Masson drifted wide. Several drivers going off at the first corner. Mari Boya, one of them. He has recovered without damage, but Esteban Masson has already drifted off the road in the first sector of the race. So the leader, despite getting a good start initially, has fallen off the road. So who's going to come towards us first? Surely that is going to be Bruno Del Pino, the rookie. It is. So Del Pino leads the way from Garfias and Ogaard. Safety car. Safety car has been called again. So safety car has instantly been called. Clearly, the situation was not good for the start as far as the drivers were concerned. So down to the first corner. But the safety car has been called according to my timing screen. Whether or not it's the case elsewhere, yep, the pace has backed down, so the safety car has been called. Well, big drama on the start. I wonder if we'll get another look at it, but certainly first Mari Boya and then Esteban Masson trying to get back on the throttle. Drifted back on the road, even with wet tyres. The circuit is very tricky indeed. So, Bruno Del Pino now takes up the story in the lead of the race. This is a very treacherous race already. But now we are going to see how things will play out for the rest of the race. And look at those clouds looming overhead. This is going to be even tougher conditions if it continues the way it currently is. This could be a survival of the fittest. Just staying on the road could get you the victory here. Never mind racing wheel to wheel. But certainly Bruno Del Pino in a strong position to take advantage of the two title contenders falling off the road in the first corner. What drama here in Eurocup 3. And there is a car stationary at turn 1. That is why we're under safety car. So Del Pino leads. Ogaard second from Garfias. So Ogaard actually got through on the Mexican. And then it's Sagrera in fourth position in front of Inthrapuvasak. So the car that is stationary at the back is actually the other race winner, would you believe? Francesco Braschi. So Mari Boya went off the road, Masson went off the road, and so did Francesco Braschi. And it's Braschi, the winner of the first race of the season, who is in the gravel at Tarzan and not going anywhere. My goodness, what drama here at Zandvoort. All three of the previous race winners in 2023 in Eurocup 3 coming a cropper at turn 1. And for Francesco Braschi, well, he's got his gloves back on. So I wonder, he's kept his engine still going. So I wonder, does Francesco Braschi think he's going to rejoin a lap down? Because there's no reason why he can't if he's kept the engine running. He's put his gloves back on. Surely this is going to be outside assistance, though, from the marshals to get him back onto the racetrack again. So now the rookie driver, Bruno Del Pino, leads the race. So Esteban Masson finds himself in 7th position here, and Mari Boya is down to 10th. So if it stays like this, we're going to get a new winner in EuroCup-3 in 2023, and that is Bruno Del Pino in front of Sebastian Ogaard. Well, big drama. We were expecting it to be a pretty hectic one, but I did not expect to see all 3 of the previous race winners in 2023 drifting off the road. Well, Francesco Braschi seems determined that he wants to stay in the car and get back on the racetrack again. I don't know whether that's going to be outside assistance or not. Surely it is. Well, we'll have to see how that one develops and unravels. I don't think that story is quite done yet. Look at how dark it's got, as more rain is on the way here at Zandvoort. And there it is. It's now dropping on the camera lens. So, unfortunately, it is a seaside storm here at the Circuit Zandvoort. Look at the rain. It is absolutely ridiculous how heavy it's coming down now. So I would suspect that it's going to be tricky to know who is going... Well, what is the order? There is the tow of Francesco Braschi's car. They tow him out of the first corner gravel trap, and they detach the tow rope from his car. So can he get going again? The engine looks like it might still be on. So can Francesco Braschi get moving again? Go on, turn around on the escape road at turn 1 and go and rejoin again. There he goes. Spin turns the car. He'll have to go the long way round and keep it on the tarmac. Whatever you do, Francesco, don't go into the gravel again. But the safety car is coming through. He doesn't want to go a lap down. Careful, Francesco. Careful, careful. Don't bin it into the gravel trap now. And he does keep it together. Well, that was like something out of Days of Thunder for Francesco Braschi, trying to beat the safety car to remain... Well, he's going to go a lap down because the safety car had already passed him once. But he's going to go a lap down, of course, as a result of this. So, Bruno Del Pino is your race leader. Sebastian Ogaard in front of Ogaard, then Segrera, then Tasanapol. The start procedure of car number 63, that's Georgios Markogiannis, is currently under investigation. Safety car in this lap. So Francesco Braschi's race has already started because he's obviously rejoined at the back, trying desperately not to lose more than a lap. But from Francesco Braschi's point of view, more drivers might fall off the road here. So points could still be up for grabs. But look at the rain spots on the camera lens. The safety car is in this lap, so at least the track is going to get wet enough to run these tyres to the end. But it's going to be tricky, isn't it? If the 3 race winners from 2023 can all bin it at the first turn, then nobody is safe, essentially, in EuroCup-3 in race 7 of the 2023 season. So this is all going to be about control, about discipline, about patience. So now we're waiting to see. There go the lights out on the safety car. So Bruno Del Pino, the rookie, is in a very tricky position here. He has got to control the restart. We are going to go green. Now, this is the replay of Mari Boya and Esteban Masson drifting off the road. They weren't the only ones to go either. One of the 2 or 3 cars, 4 cars behind them going off as well. There's Masson drifting off the road. And there is Mari Boya in the background as well. But look in the background. There's 1, 2, possibly a 3rd car going off as well. Well, obviously we know the 3rd car. That was Francesco Braschi. So a very tricky start to the race then, but we are going to go green flag. Bruno Del Pino backs up his teammates, Sebastian Ogaard and Ogaard. Watch for Javier Segrera on the restart. And then Tasanapol is there in 5th place. Watch for Suleiman Zanfari as well, the Moroccan, in 6th position. Now he, of course, is leading the rookie standings. It was looking pretty tight for him to get himself into a good position and challenge for a podium, but now he's there already. So let's see what happens as the race restarts. It's going to be Bruno Del Pino that leads them off. Round the Arie Luyendyk turn, he's hit the throttle. Now we go racing. And it's all going to be about patience and discipline into turn 1. There is going to be some spray, and it's green at Zandvoort. Here comes Sebastian Ogaard. He's already trying to take on Bruno Del Pino as they go deep round the outside. Everybody trying to keep it nice and tidy in turn 1. Can they get it turned in? No, they can't. And Bruno Del Pino drops it through turn 1. Sebastian Ogaard is going to take him on anyway. This time they all get through turn 1 without incident, but Sebastian Ogaard has taken the lead of the race in front of Bruno Del Pino, with Jose Garfias there in 3rd position. Apparently the number 64 of Nick Gilks is also under investigation for the safety car procedure. Not sure what's happened to Nick Gilks, but I'm sure we'll pick that story up later. But for the moment, it is Sebastian Ogaard that leads the race from Bruno Del Pino and Jose Garfias. Watch out for Segreira. He's going to be feisty on this first lap. So the drivers work their way up the hill. They work their way through Rob Slurtemacher, up through Chevliac, and up towards the Mastersbocht. This is a great start to proceedings here at Zandvoort. Sebastian Ogaard leads the race in front of Bruno Del Pino. You've got to tiptoe in these conditions, which is not what these cars are designed to do. But with 12 minutes still to go, there's definitely going to be some battles as Segreira drifts out wide, and I think that's cost him in comparison to Inthrapuvasak and Zanfari. Oh, and a spin, and off the racetrack goes Nick Gilks. So Nick Gilks is in the gravel. Very unfortunate for the Drive X driver, and that's a dive up the inside. That is for 4th position. Is that Zanfari making his bid there? Well, I think we've also got, as well as yellow flag at turn 10, we've also got Tasanapol on the move. So out in front, as they come through at the end of the lap, it is going to be pretty tricky. Safety car again. Well, that was inevitable. Once we had Nick Gilks drifting onto the road, it is all done and dusted. And I'm afraid to say, Francesco Braschi's tactics have come back to bite him. He has been given the black flag, so he is out of the race as well. Nick Gilks devastated as he bashes the halo in frustration. Poor Nick Gilks. It was going well for him this weekend up to that point. But I'm afraid his race is over. He now has no choice but to trudge away. Oh, there was a little bit of contact by the look of it, and Gilks pirouetted around into the gravel. So the safety car is out for the 3rd time. It started this race. Then we had Francesco Braschi spinning at turn 1. That brought out the 2nd safety car. Now Nick Gilks, and that's the 3rd safety car. We have not had one green flag full lap of racing here at Zandvoort. But I'm afraid Francesco Braschi has come into the pits, having been told of the black flag. So he is out of the race as well as Nick Gilks. There are 16 cars remaining. And Sebastian Ogaard is your race leader in front of Bruno Del Pino. And would you believe it, Esteban Masson is up to 3rd position. He's had an amazing restart. So Esteban Masson has worked his way through into 3rd position. It's all gone terribly wrong for Mari Boya. He has slipped all the way to 14th. So Mari Boya's had a nightmare on the restart. And of course, Francesco Braschi is out of the race. He's been given the black flag and he has had to pit in to retire. Nick Gilks is out of the race as well, having binned it at the middle of the course. So very unfortunate for Nick Gilks as he just tripped into the gravel at turn 10. So game over for Nick Gilks. There is the Marshall team going to recover his car. Nick Gilks is long gone from the scene. He doesn't want to assist them in any way, shape or form. But the rain's still coming down here at Zandvoort. Incredibly, we've completed 2/3 distance of this race, and we haven't had one completely clear green flag lap yet. Tricky conditions at Zandvoort, plus 18 very motivated racing drivers. It's not the biggest shock in the world. But Boya has gone off a 2nd time on the restart. And unfortunately, it is now very much a bit of a miracle if he's going to get points. Now there is Nick Gilks going around. So I didn't really see who he tagged in with there, but I've got a guess and a suspicion that it's one of his teammates. So Nick Gilks, no, don't tell me you're going to do the same thing. Well, Francesco Braschi has just been given the black flag for doing that. So Nick Gilks is going to try and do the same thing, but he's been given the black flag for his restart procedure. So Nick Gilks clearly feels, well, I can do it as well. But I'm afraid, Nick, it's already proved to be something that doesn't work. So a big disappointment then for Nick Gilks, and a big disappointment as well for Francesco Braschi, our winner at Spa. But with 8.5 minutes to go, we are still under safety car conditions here at Zandvoort, with the rookie driver Bruno Del Pino taking the win if it stays like this. Sebastian Ogaard taking the win if it stays like this. Bruno Del Pino is there in 2nd because he overshot at the first corner on the restart. But don't count out Esteban Masson. If we go green again, which I have a feeling we will, Esteban Masson is right there for the taking in third position, and he will want to go for the win, knowing that he's only got 2 cars to get past in order to bounce himself back from pole position. That would be dramatic for Esteban Masson, but a fabulous rejuvenation for the Frenchman. If he can get himself back into position, that would be lovely as far as his championship assault is concerned as well, because his main rival, Masson and Boya, is out of the points at this stage. So for so many reasons, it's a great opportunity, and 25 points could still be on the horizon for Esteban Masson. He's currently looking at 15, which would open up his advantage over Masson and Boya to 21 points. But if he could get the win, it would open up his advantage to 31 points. So Esteban Masson absolutely determined, no doubt, for A, this race to go green, and B, for him to get past first Bruno Del Pino, and then Sebastian Ogaard. Safety car in this lap. So Nick Gilks' car has obviously been moved from the scene. Cue the black flag for Nick Gilks if he stays out on the road, because if it happened to Francesco Braschi, I would have absolutely no doubt that it would happen to Nick Gilks as well. But the race is definitely going ahead again. And the lights are out on the safety car. Here we go, Sebastian. Can you believe it's going to be a third different race leader on the restart? Because Esteban Masson was the original race leader. Then it was Bruno Del Pino on his restart. Now it's going to be Sebastian Ogaard on his. So this is definitely going to be intriguing as to who is going to get the best start this time. But Sebastian Ogaard will lead the field on the safety car restart. So as the safety car peels into the pits, it's all up to Sebastian Ogaard. Apparently the incidents involving Georgios Markogiannis and Nick Gilks under safety car will be investigated after the race. But the safety car is in this lap, and we're only going to have a 6-minute sprint, and that's provided everybody gets through. The safety car boards peel in, and we are going to go green flag conditions as soon as Sebastian Ogaard decides to hit the throttle around the Ari Lyndike corner, which he does. And it's a good restart from Sebastian Ogaard. He gets a good launch away from the pack, and as we continue with the rain and the very windy conditions, it is green flags here at Zandvoort. Watch for Masson. He's already going to the far side of Bruno Del Pino to try and take this round the outside of Tarzan. That's going to be brave from Masson. Masson and Boya swooping in on the inside, trying to pick off his rivals. And Masson has gone right round the outside of Tarzan into second place. Brilliant from Esteban Masson. Superb. And now Inthrapuvasak is going to try and take on Garfias. And Inthrapuvasak down on the inside, but around the outside, Garfias has found the traction. That's what's so brilliant about that carousel corner. So Ogaard leads the way. Masson up to second. He's only got to get past one more car, and then he can take his third win of the season. But Sebastian Ogaard wants his first win of the season. It's still rain in the air. So Masson through in a second place past Del Pino. Del Pino under pressure now from his teammate Garfias. And Inthrapuvasak is there in front of Segrera, Zanfari, Pingasov, Markogiannis and Dan Nogales. So Masson and Boya trying to cut his way forward in the hope that he can get back into the points. He's certainly looking pretty racy for it. The Spanish talent who races not only in EuroCup-3 but also in FIA Formula 3. Only last week he was racing at Silverstone in the British Grand Prix, and here he is at Zandvoort in EuroCup-3. Wheel to wheel for the two green machines. Now this is the replay of the restart, I do believe. Oh no, we were going to cut to a replay, and now we've come back to race action. This is live pictures. So Esteban Masson all over the back of Sebastian Ogaard. Are we going to get a fully green flag lap? I think we are this time, but look at Masson. He is really pushing to try and get on terms with Sebastian Ogaard as they go round Ari Lyndike. This is going to be a tough battle for Esteban Masson to take on Sebastian Ogaard. 4 minutes to go, plus the additional lap, and Masson's looking really threatening. Hungry round the outside of Tarzan. He knows he's got pace, but can he go for the slingshot round the outside and then tuck in for the switcheroo? He's going to get alongside. No, he's not. So Ogaard, Masson, Del Pino, and now Inthrapuvasak going wheel to wheel with Garfias. Can Inthrapuvasak get through? Garfias is going to come back through on the inside, but round the outside, Inthrapuvasak holds on. Brilliantly done from the tie. So Taz Inthrapuvasak up to fourth place in front of Garfias, Zanfari, Segrera and Pingasov. There is a yellow flag at the pits at turn 1 apparently. So somebody seems to have gone off there at the first corner, but it's only brief. It's only brief, so I think we're going to go racing again. Or we're going to stay green flag, I should say. But Esteban Masson really piling on the pressure to Ogaard. And here comes Bruno Del Pino. Del Pino wants a piece of this now. So the rookie is looking strong. Hang on a minute. This looks like Garfias to me, actually. So where is Del Pino? Well, there are the two leaders out front. This is Ogaard and Masson. And there is the battle further back. This is Del Pino, Garfias, and Inthrapuvasak. Inthrapuvasak through to 4th position, of course. So the two leaders have broken clear. But Garfias is trying to get into 4th position. Here's the battle for 6th. This is Zanfari versus Segrera. Segrera trying to get through in the Drive X. But as they work their way through, the Campos still doing a grand job here for Suleiman Zanfari. But now Esteban Masson has a chance to go after Ogaard. Ogaard is doing his best to steer clear of Esteban Masson. Masson now in 2nd position, of course. And that's going to put him on 18 points. If Marty Boya can't get back into the points, and he's currently in 15th position, then it looks to me as though the lead is suddenly going to go 6 points in the championship to 24 for Esteban Masson. And that would be massive at the midway point of the season. So still the battles rage. Masson putting pressure on Sebastian Ogaard. He wants to get through as soon as humanly possible. And Marty Boya has really struggled on the restart again. He's down to 15th position behind his competitors. Well, Marty Boya has worked his way forward. There's been an incident for Jesse Carrasquedo. I think it was him who spun at turn 1. So now Carrasquedo down to 16th position. Boya up to 12th, ahead of Pingazov, Mavlutiov and Jorge Campos. So Marty Boya is now trying to take on David Morales, and he needs to get past not only him, but also Georgios Markogiannis if he wants to get into the points. So this is not good news for Marty Boya. He's got his back to the wall here to try and work his way forward. So there is the number 3 of Javier Segrera. He's got Sebastian Gravlund all over the back of him. And there are the two leaders, Ogaard and Masson. And is that Segrera having worked his way further forward now? Certainly the two leaders are long gone. Is that Masson? Is that Masson now in front of Sebastian Ogaard? I thought I saw Masson in the lead of the race there, in front of Sebastian Ogaard. We'll have to wait and see. Yes, it is Masson. So Esteban Masson has found his move on Sebastian Ogaard. I didn't see it, but Masson has got through in front of Sebastian Ogaard. Hopefully we can get a replay of it. But we are going to have 2 laps to go, and Esteban Masson has got himself into the lead here, searching for win number 3 of the season. Big tank slapper from Bruno Del Pino in front of Inthrapuvasak, and Inthrapuvasak is going to commit round the Ari Lyondike corner. That's going to be brave for the tie. So a big opportunity knocking here. Ari Lyondike corner is where Inthrapuvasak tried to make the move. And Jose Garfias has had a bit of a tricky lap. He's now tumbled all the way to 7th place. So let's have a replay. That is both the cars of Dan Mavlutiov and the other driver, the other green bullet going off the road there. That is Markogiannis and Mavlutiov going off the road there, I do believe. So they both drift off the course. And who's that going off in the background? Somebody else has overshot a Tarzan. I didn't see who that was, but it looked to me like it was one of the Campos cars drifting off the road. Couldn't quite make out who it was. So was that Dan Nogales drifting off the road? We'll double check and have a look back at it later. There's so much to unpick from this race. This is going to be one of those races that's really going to be tough to work your way through in terms of analysis. But certainly Esteban Masson is leaving us within no doubt at all as to who is going to take the victory. He took the pole position. He started the race out of the safety car and drifted off the road. Manages to rejoin in 7th place and somehow worked his way through on the first restart lap to 3rd position. And on this restart, he has been supreme. Absolutely fantastic from Esteban Masson. A brilliant drive so far from the Frenchman. He just needs to keep it together for one more lap. So this is definitely going to be tricky for Esteban Masson to hold on to. But look at the way the track is drying out quickly. Hopefully it'll be bone dry for this afternoon. And we'll really get to see what these EuroCup-3 cars can do. But as they come through, Esteban Masson in front of Sebastian Ogaard. And Bruno Del Pino, I think, still in 3rd position. Yep, he is, just in front of Tasanapol, who can sense a chance at a podium here in 4th position. He needs to find the move on Bruno Del Pino to make it happen. And up to 5th position now has come Suleiman Zanfari. So Suleiman Zanfari, the Moroccan, looking good for 2nd in the rookie category and ahead of Javier Segrera in the Polo. And then Garfias from Gravlund, Nogales, Markogiannis and Marty Boya in 11th position. Out of the points as drifting off the road goes the 63. That is Georgios Markogiannis, who was in 10th position That's good news for Mari Boya. And we've had a spinner at turn 1. That is Jorge Campos. So Campos has gone off at the first corner. Fortunately, we are on the final lap. So I think the race is essentially going to continue unabated because everybody's already past the incident. But Esteban Masson in front of Sebastian Ogaard. Can Ogaard do anything about him? He is still trying to work his magic. No, look at that. Masson is long gone from Sebastian Ogaard. The battle we're watching further back was actually Del Pino versus Inthrapuvasak. And I think Inthrapuvasak actually getting through into third position. So Esteban Masson tiptoes his way through the final section. Let's have a replay. This is the off from Jorge Campos. So he drifts off the road into the first corner. But out in front, no problems at all for the Frenchman who got pole position. He dropped it on the first start, but he fought his way back. A brilliant comeback from Esteban Masson. He wins in race 1 at Zandvoort. Excellent display from Esteban Masson. Sebastian Ogaard is going to come through in second position. And third place will go the way of Tasanapol Inthrapuvasak. He comes through in third, ahead of Bruno Del Pino. Excellent display from Taz Inthrapuvasak to fight through to third on the final lap of the race. Your timing screen on the left there has not updated. It is Taz Inthrapuvasak who comes through in third, ahead of Bruno Del Pino. Then Suleiman Zanfari, Javier Segrera, Jose Garfias, Sebastian Gravlund, Dan Nogales, Mari Boya in 10th position. So he does get a point, but it's just the single solitary point, unfortunately, for the Spaniard. But what a commanding display from Esteban Masson. Despite dropping off the road, he has managed to fight his way back into position. Such an amazing run from the Frenchman. A very solid drive from Sebastian Ogaard, though, as well, to come home in second position. And feisty and frenetic from Taz Inthrapuvasak. The rookie win goes the way of Bruno Del Pino in front of Suleiman Zanfari. They were actually 4th and 5th on the road. The final place on the rookie podium will go to Sebastian Gravlund. So a brilliant race. I mean, we didn't get much green flag running, but what green flag running we did get, boy, was it good. And a fantastic drive from the Frenchman, Esteban Masson. That puts him into a strong lead in the championship now. And with 25 points scored compared to Mari Boya only scoring 1, that means that the championship lead that was 6 points is now up to 30. So Esteban Masson looking very strong in the championship fight at this stage. That's definitely going to give him bags of confidence as the battles continue to play out here at Zandvoort. We have another race this afternoon, of course. So make sure that you tune in for that. It's going to be a really exciting afternoon of racing when hopefully the rain will have stopped for good. So we are in for a very exciting race battle this afternoon. We will be back with the second race battle at 4:04 local time. So European time, it'll be 4 minutes past 4 when we essentially get started. But we are going to be in for an absolutely sensational second race if this first one is anything to go by. And a terrific job from our top 3 drivers, particularly to Esteban Masson, who we thought had thrown the race away. No, mate, he was in full Lightning McQueen mode. He was just giving us a bit of sizzle. He wanted us to think he'd thrown it away. He hadn't thrown it away at all. He had to fight his way back to get it. But that's what Esteban Masson is good at. And he now matches Mari Boya for race victories. He takes his 3rd race win of the season. And because Mari Boya missed out in Aragon and dropped to 10th position in that race, not only does Masson take the win, which means big stuff to Esteban Masson, but he now takes a 30-point lead in the championship going into the second race this afternoon. Big joy. Big joy for the Campos team as Esteban Masson gets the victory he richly deserves after what has been a truly sensational race battle here at the circuit Zandvoort. So it may be a bit of a damp day at the office, but it's certainly a very rewarding one for Esteban Masson. Also too for Sebastian Ogaard and Taz Inthrapuvasak, 2nd and 3rd. Good performances from them. And that really sets things up for a very exciting and highly anticipated race later today. 2 podium finishes for Campos then. Tasanapol coming home in 3rd position. MP Motorsport has Sebastian Ogaard on the podium. A terrific run though in 4th and 5th position for the rookies. Bruno Del Pino of MP and Suleiman Zanfari for Campos. A great result then, and a great battle between these 2 giants of the European single-seater teams. And Esteban Masson, I'm sure, very relaxed now going into race 2, knowing that he cannot have his lead taken away from him at the end of today. He will have a 30-point lead. Mari Boya can only close up on him, but he certainly can't take the championship lead away from Esteban Masson today. He'll have to wait until Jerez to get the opportunity to do that. So Esteban Masson absolutely going into the summer break with the upper hand. The first 4 races at Spa, Aragon, Monza and Zandvoort, or I should say the first 4 weekends because there are 2 races apiece. The championship leader leaving Zandvoort after the second race this afternoon is going to be Esteban Masson no matter what happens. But then of course we have the race weekends at Jerez de la Frontera, at the Circuito do Estoril, on the Circuit Ricardo Tormo in Cheste in Valencia, and then on the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalonia, to finish us off. What a fabulous result though for Esteban Masson. He can be very happy with what he's achieved here. Despite dropping all the way down to 7th position at one stage, to fight his way back into 3rd position before the safety car came out for a 3rd time, and then to get himself back into the lead under green flag conditions in the closing stages. A fabulous fight. And well done to Bruno Del Pino as well, the leading rookie. There is your provisional classification. Esteban Masson in front of Sebastian Ogaard and Tasanapol from Bruno Del Pino and Suleiman Zanfari. Javier Segrera and Jose Garfias, then Sebastian Gravlund, Dan Nogales and Mari Boya. He scores a point to keep the lead down to just 30 points when it could have been 31. 11th was David Morales in front of Georgios Makajanis and Dan Mavlutiov, then Miron Pingazov and Jesse Karashkedo. The retirements, Jorge Campos, Nick Gilks and Francesco Braschi. Well, a very dramatic race then, wasn't it, folks? And we certainly enjoyed it. We had a terrific battle out there on the course once we actually did get going. But a terrific start to the day's racing in EUROCUP-3. And we will stick around for the podium ceremony, as Esteban Masson is obviously going to be very jubilant indeed up on the top spot. But what a fantastic result for the Frenchman. He really has earned his stripes there, having to charge his way back and getting himself into a very competitive position. So what does this mean for race 2 now? Well, it means that the pressure's off Esteban Masson to a certain extent. Having tied with Mari Boya now for victories, he has a 30-point lead in the championship. So even if Mari Boya were to win race 2 and Masson were not to finish, he would still only be 5 points behind him rather than take the lead of the championship away from him. And going into the summer break, the momentum and certainly the psychological edge is absolutely with Esteban Masson, especially after a race drive like that one. So it definitely helps, and it will be a very excited paddock as we gear ourselves up for the first podium ceremony of the week. There will be, of course, another race to come this afternoon, as I mentioned. 3 o'clock UK time, 4 o'clock European time is when we go live for the second race of the day. And hopefully, when the conditions are going to be very different compared to what they were this morning. It looks as though the sun is already starting to push away the clouds, so we shouldn't have any more rain to deal with. Let's look back over the highlights of a fabulous race. The race starting under safety car conditions, of course. When we finally went racing, it was drama straight away, and a fabulous battle turned into a rather dramatic one, as when the race finally did get started, it would be both Esteban Masson and Mari Boya that would drop off at the circuit on the first turn, and joined by the other fellow race winner, Francesco Braschi. Here is that moment again, as into the first corner when Esteban Masson, Mari Boya was trying to go through. They both drifted off the road. Francesco Braschi became the third one to do so of the race winners. Several others went off the road as well, but those were the big names to do so. Francesco Braschi spinning off the road behind them, beaching it into the gravel trap, eventually getting going again, but I'm afraid he would then get the black flag for getting outside assistance. There would be more problems for Nick Gilks as he too dropped out of the race. And then there would be problems on the restart for several others. But once we finally got racing again, it would be Sebastian Ogaard that would take the advantage up front in front of Bruno Del Pino, who led briefly. But Esteban Masson was not going to be denied a race victory, was he? Round the outside at Tarzan, he kept the car very smooth and ever present. And it was a fabulous recovery, a brilliant renaissance for Esteban Masson to go round the outside and get himself into second position initially. Then he would take on Sebastian Ogaard. Drivers dropping it on the first lap under green again. It was one of the Palou cars that went off the road on the third restart. There would be more drivers dropping it around the course. Garfias going off the road. The two GMS cars skating off at the first corner as well. But fortunately, everybody managing to keep it on the road, other than the two that had already gone. And on the very last lap, we had Jorge Campos. That was an incident we didn't really see. And now we get to see in the highlights. And then comes the moment of a little bit of hesitation in the middle of the field there. But Esteban Masson got himself into the lead and started to stretch away. 77 drifting off the road as well. So it wasn't exactly plain sailing for everybody. David Morales having his moment. But all of the drivers in Eurocup 3 having to really work on their toes. And then the 63 of Georgios Markogiannis dropping it in 10th position, costing him a point. But the podium ceremony is underway for Esteban Masson. As La Marseillaise rings out over the Circuit Zandvoort, a brilliant performance from Esteban Masson. A great display here in the first Eurocup 3 race of the weekend. Good job from Tasanapol. He fought his way to third position in great style. Sebastian Ogaard doing likewise to very nearly take his first win of the season. I think he'll be a little disappointed with that in second place, but he certainly gave himself the best possible shot. But the Campos driver, Esteban Masson, taking a win despite us all thinking he'd thrown it away. He fought his way back into contention and did a great job in the process. A great recovery from Esteban Masson, and now he leads the championship by 30 points heading into the second race this afternoon. Time, therefore... Oh, come on, Esteban, you can't party early. You just wanted to celebrate in style. You really get the sense that this is a big moment for Esteban Masson. Psychologically and motivation-wise, that was a great victory as far as he was concerned. Can I stop posing now? Go on, then. So Esteban Masson gets busy with the fizzy as he celebrates in fine style here on the podium at Circuit Zandvoort. Absolutely sensational stuff. And what a performance from Esteban Masson. He can be very happy with the way this has played out. His teammate Inthrapuvasak gives him another quick shower. But heading into race 2 this afternoon, Esteban Masson is absolutely the man on form. What can he do as we get ready for race number 2 later today? Circuit Zandvoort is going to have some exciting moments to come as the vintage Formula Fords get ready for race action. But now we will take a breather and we will let Eurocup 3 get ready for race number 2 after the rookie podium, because it's obviously been a very competitive one for the Eurocup 3 drivers in the podium presentation as well. So Sebastian Gravland getting in third position. Suleiman Zanfari very happy with second after what was a very disappointing start to the weekend. To bounce back to second, he can be happy. And Bruno Del Pino taking his second rookie win of the season in Eurocup 3. He can be very happy indeed with that. So the trophies are presented to Sebastian Gravland, to Suleiman Zanfari, and to Bruno Del Pino. An excellent display from our 3 drivers. They are very happy with what they have achieved. Hopefully you can still hear the podium ceremony over the historic monoposto cars. that are heading out onto the circuit for their qualifying session. But what a great result for the 3 drivers in the rookie podium. Bruno Del Pino, Suleiman Zanfari and Sebastian Gravland. They'll do it all again later this afternoon as we get ready for race 2. From Jake Sanson and from all of us here at the EUROCUP-3, we hope you've enjoyed the race action here at the circuit Zandvoort. So as our rookies get busy with the fizzy, we'll see you this afternoon for race 2.